हरे कृष्णा। आप सभी दर्शकों का स्वागत है आपके पसंदीदा शो आपके मन की बात हमारे साथ के एक बिल्कुल नए एपिसोड में। दर्शकों, आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही विशेष गेस्ट जुड़ने वाले हैं और क्योंकि वे जो गेस्ट हैं वो श्रील प्रभुपाद के डिसाइपल हैं और वे एक फॉरेनर हैं, पिछले कई वर्षों से इंडिया में रह रहे हैं, लेकिन हिंदी उनकी इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग लैंग्वेज नहीं है, which is why we will have the session today in English. I really welcome all of you to join this session. We've been having sessions on cow protection for over quite a few months now. And the kind of response we've been gathering from all this time is really, really overwhelming and heart touching. I really hope that you enjoy this session till the end. We are very, very fortunate to speak to Visvavadhika Mataji today. She's been an active preacher in terms of cow protection as well as Harinam Sankirtan. And she's also very passionate and vocal about her views on Ahimsa milk and Bhakti milk. We are very fortunate to hear about Bhakti milk, the concept from her itself. And she's going to also guide us about a lot of things that we've been missing in all these sessions. She's going to tell us what Srila Prabhupada thought about cow protection. And we have a list of good on point questions that can help us bring and take the most out of this session. Let me quickly introduce you with our guest today. I have it written down so that I do not miss anything. So Vishwadika Mataji was initiated in New Vrindavan in the year 1973. She has been closely involved with cow protection and service to bulls and cows in Mayapur since 2015. Today is the last day of 2025. This marks 10 years. Her work and study of Srila Prabhupada's books inspired her to write about the spiritual and ethical issues surrounding milk, which she connects to the major problems of the 21st century. She's also written two books, one of which is Bhakti Milk. And this book is very important for us devotees to read, understand, and somehow implement the values and the principles that Mataji is trying to put forth. Let us quickly join our hands and welcome Vishwadika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, thank you so much for taking out time and joining with us today. We know that you have a very busy schedule, but in spite of all this, out of kindness, you joined this, and we are very, very grateful.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And before I do speak, I want to first offer my humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pasacha Desadharine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Mother Surabhi and Dharma, our bull.
Mataji, with the way you have started this session, I can hardly imagine all the things that are coming for us in the show. We have 1.5 hours with you. And to be able to make the most out of it, I have 15 important questions with me. And the main thing that we will be focusing on today is what would Srila Prabhupada say, feel, or instruct in regards to dairy consumption and cow protection. Are you ready for the show, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you for asking the questions. Before we start, though, you said the word bhakti milk. I think that should be just explained very, very briefly. Ahimsa milk, of course, is milk which is not connected to any violence to get that milk. But bhakti milk is a step further. Bhakti milk means milk which is not only connected with no violence, but is from cows that are taken care of by devotees. This is bhakti. This is a step further. And actually, it is the only way we can really ensure that we have true ahimsa milk. By connecting.
When I heard of this concept, I found it really fascinating. But one question that really hit me was, if if there's a person who is not harming the cow, who is not harming the process of the cow's mother and is obtaining milk from the cow, you call this milk ahimsa milk. And bhakti milk is when a person loves the cow, cares for the cow, and the milk that is obtained from this loving relationship. But I thought to myself, if somebody is not hurting the cow, if any sort of violence is not involved in the process, is it naturally not because the guy or the man loves the cow?
Yes, of course, and ahimsa milk. I'm not putting down ahimsa milk. Ahimsa milk is in this world of Kali Yuga is almost non-existent. But bhakti actually goes even a step further than the person taking care of the cow, loving the cow. Bhakti means devotion to Krishna. This is the sense in which we were thinking of bhakti milk. Actually, I was sitting with Dao Mukunda Prabhu from Nandi Sanctuary many years ago, and we were talking ahimsa milk, ahimsa milk. And as we were talking, I said to him, we both actually came to the same conclusion at the same time. Ahimsa milk doesn't describe what we want to offer to Krishna. We want to offer bhakti milk to Krishna. The whole process, from beginning to the offering plate, is bhakti.
Sure.
And engaging the cows in bhakti. So that explains bhakti milk a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of consciousness altogether, and the consciousness is what makes all the difference.
Yes, yes, of course. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness, consciousness of Krishna.
Right. Mataji, my first question to you is, among all the 15 ones, the first one is, did Srila Prabhupada consider cow protection a negotiable principle or a non-negotiable foundation of Krishna consciousness?
Well, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, cow protection was not emphasized. Srila Prabhupada didn't come to America to start the International Society for cow consciousness or Ahimsa, cow protection, or anything like that. He came specifically to spread the chanting of the holy name. This is what his spiritual master wanted him to do. Now, it's not that the two are not connected. On May 20th, in 1956, in a BTG magazine, Srila Prabhupada outlined his plan for preaching Krishna consciousness. He wrote an essay, a piece called Essay on Gita Nagari. Some devotees may be familiar. And part of those principles, part of those goals of preaching Krishna consciousness was a more sattvic, natural living, simple living, high thinking, basically. So, is cow protection negotiable? Well, after establishing ISKCON all over the world, Srila Prabhupada, before leaving this world, he made it very clear that 50% of his mission was not completed. He left this for us, not us, Prabhupada disciples only, obviously. We couldn't live that long. For all disciples, for so many years, hundreds of years, thousands of years to come. And he left this for us, his disciples, grand disciples, Varnashram, Brahminical culture, and cow protection is the basis of Varnashram and Brahminical culture. They are so intimately connected, they cannot be disconnected. You'll see as we continue to talk. So you'll see, it's not really negotiable. It's Prabhupada's instruction right before he left.
Mataji, Thank you so much for highlighting this right in the beginning of the session. Every Wednesday, we talk about this issue and we try to spread awareness as much as we can. And we've been seeing a positive response so far. But it is very important for us to understand that Srila Prabhupada has left it for us. His mission, his movement is not yet completed, and it is in our hands now. All we can do is protect this and cherish this and work in the right direction. Thank you so much, Mataji. The next question is in a different direction altogether. In Prabhupada's vision, can a society claim to be Vedic or devotional while depending on an industry that ultimately sends cows to slaughter?
Well, Vedic and devotional are certainly related, but there is a difference, especially in this age, where Vedic has actually come to mean the caste system and a lot of rituals that are not necessarily devotional or conducive to Krishna consciousness. One can be very Vedic externally, but have no devotion, basically. Still, Vedic is important to the development of bhakti for a conditioned soul. Vedic is actually synonymous, real Vedic is actually synonymous with Daivi Varnashram, with Varnashram Dharma. That's real Vedic. So this question is actually related to the concept that many devotees have that milk is an essential part of our culture.
Right.
Actually, they're putting too much importance on milk. Our culture is not drinking milk. Our culture is using this life to become Krishna conscious, and offering milk can be a very important part of this process. But we cannot focus too much on the milk and forget about protecting Mother Cow and her calf. Otherwise, there's a big disconnect there, and that disconnect is what often makes it very difficult for devotees to understand why bhakti milk is important, why Ahimsa milk is important, is part of this process. Srila Prabhupada actually said very many things about the source of our milk. And I'm going to read now something that he said in Los Angeles all the way back in 1968 during a lecture. Prabhupada, this is a part of what he said. And protect the cows. Actually, we are taking so much advantages. So from the cows, the milk. And from the milk, we can make hundreds of vitaminous foodstuffs. Hundreds. They're all palatable. So such a nice animal, faithful, peaceful, and beneficial. And after taking milk from it, if we kill, does it look very well? So therefore, Krishna is teaching by his practical demonstration how he loves this innocent animal cow. So, listen very carefully. Human society should develop Brahminical culture on the basis of protecting cows. Brahminical culture is Varnashram Dharma. There is no Varnashram without Brahminical culture. The two are practically identical. When Prabhupada says human society, he's not pointing outside. He's pointing to us. What are we called? The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are a human society. If we don't do it, we can't expect other people to do it.
Absolutely.
So, ISKCON is a human society, and we are a society that is dedicated to developing Brahminical culture. We're not a society built based on milk culture, as some would say. If we had no milk, would we stop being devotees? No, of course not. So, our culture is not milk culture. The protection of cows is primary and milk is secondary. Milk will come if we properly protect cows and bulls. Actually, I have a little story about that. There was a goshala where the cows were not well protected and taken care of. And the new in charge of the goshala, he had just been put in charge. One of the goshas that was milking the cows came and said, "There's one cow over there. She's very irritable and nasty, and when we try to milk her, she simply kicks us." And this Prabhu looked over. "Leave her alone. You're not getting any milk from her anyway." He found out who her calf was. Her calf had been separated from her. Her calf was not allowed to be with her. And he put the two of them together in one pen. And a few weeks later, 2 weeks later, he saw they were getting along. The calf was drinking her milk. And 2 weeks later, he looked over and he saw that this cow was, and she was giving no milk before. This cow was now dripping milk from her udders. So milk will come if we properly protect cows and bulls. Mm-hmm. Bulls too. Bulls are part of cow protection.
They are the most neglected ones, actually. The last session also we had, it was majorly about bulls. But thank you so much, Mataji. This incident really tells us that cows, they have feelings. And indeed, they are mothers, not just to their calves, but to us as well. And if we try to exploit them, if we try to exploit their pure relationship with their child, it is certainly not going to be it's not going to be of any benefit to us. Thank you so much, Mataji. My next question to you is probably going to take you into one of the highest nostalgia. During ISKCON's early days, devotees used commercial milk. Was this an ideal Prabhupada endorsed or a temporary adjustment to circumstance?
Well, evidence tells me that this was an adjustment of circumstances. How temporary this is, and how seriously we take Srila Prabhupada's instructions will determine how long this temporary adjustment will last.
Absolutely.
Actually, at the end of his life, this has been talked about before. We need to keep talking about it. Srila Prabhupada asked us to complete the 50% of his mission that he did not complete. Part of that was a farm community for every city temple. He specifically asked for that. And his last trip, he was very ill. He did not want to go anywhere. He rallied. He said, I want to go to Girinagari, and I want to show the devotees how to do this. This was his last trip of his life. He went to London only because he became so ill that he come back to Vrindavan. And actually in 1976, Srila Prabhupada, in a letter to Rupanuga Prabhu, wrote, yes, this supplying of milk to the temple is wanted. Thank you. In the way that Atlanta is doing, every center must have a farm so we can get all milk. And if possible, vegetable, even fruit, flowers, and milk. Prabhupada again says milk. So if using commercial milk had been an ideal that Srila Prabhupada had actually endorsed and encouraged, we would not be able to find the hundreds, literally hundreds of quotations in Srila Prabhupada's books, conversations, lectures about protecting cows, which is always, not always, but most of the time, milk and protection of cows are talked about almost in the same sentence. So, I was actually shocked when I was researching for Bhakti milk. I wanted to look for a few quotations. I found 400, maybe even more. I stopped counting. And they're there. They're there for us to notice. So I'm not going to read 400 quotations. There's no time. But I will read a few. And you please notice how these two words, protect and milk, protect cows and milk, come practically in the same sentence. Number one, the protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, milk. 2, a civilized man is therefore expected to give all protection to the bulls and cows. 3, the cow should be protected. Milk should be drawn from the cows. 4, ultimately we need to protect the cow to derive the highest benefit from this important animal. 5, cow protection is very, very essential in human society because it gives milk, the miracle food. 6, therefore cow protection is very essential in Vedic civilization. 7, many times Krishna has repeated Go Rakshya. Why did he not say Pig Rakshya? No, he said Go Rakshya, because without cow's milk, there is no civilization. And finally, there is this one statement which gives direct instruction on what should be the source of milk for devotees in the whole world. Prabhupada said, if we protect cows, we can have the facility of drinking milk. He didn't say go to the grocery store. He didn't say go to the grocery store hundreds of times. He said protect cows and you will have milk.
Right. Thank you so much, Mataji. You've done an intense research in this direction, and I'm sure someday or the other it is going to benefit us all. We've been also trying to do our little contribution in this effort. And nevertheless, the quotes that you've shared with us, these statements are very heavy, and each one of them is very, very precious, and it is sounding like a direct instruction. I think it already is. Thank you so much. Audience, I hope you're there with us in this discussion. We will have time for your questions as well. This is a very important discussion for us. I request you to share the link of this session with as many people as you can. And please stay tuned with us till the end because we have a lot to cover. Mataji, the next question is very, very important, and we have been trying to put emphasis on this one specific point over all these months, and that is a very important thing. Does increased awareness of today's dairy industry increase a devotee's karmic responsibility compared to the 1970s?
So I'm sure many of you have heard the statement, to whom much is given, more is expected. I'm not really qualified to make a statement on karmic responsibility. I'm not Yamaraj, but karmic responsibility is based on a person's realization and how they manifest that realization. And it's between the jiva, Yamaraj, and ultimately between Guru and Krishna. Between the jiva and Guru and Krishna. I have a little story. I hope we're still online. I see that your image has disappeared, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue speaking. Just to be able to understand the karmic responsibility, I have a little story. So, what if you found yourself in a situation where you're buying milk from a local farmer, not a devotee? You're just buying milk from a local farmer, you know it's very fresh. And you go there, and when you get there, there's a bunch of his cows that are in the in a big truck. And you ask the farmer, where are those cows going? And the farmer says, oh, those are going, they're going to the to the house where they'll be slaughtered. And you're shocked. You're a devotee. You're going to preach to him about the sinfulness of sending cows to slaughter. How horrible this is. And after you've preached to him about that, then you say to him, so can you sell me an extra gallon of milk today? Because I need, I have to, I have some extra cooking to do. I have guests coming. And by the way, I'm a regular customer here. Can you give me a better price on this extra gallon of milk? Is that appropriate?
Not at all.
It's not. And we know that. We're not doing that. We're going to the store and we're buying the milk in a plastic jug. We're not seeing what goes on in the back. So therefore, we've lost a sense of that karmic responsibility, of what actually happens for that milk to go into that bottle. And considering all these things is actually one of the big reasons that I stopped drinking milk from the dairy industry. I only take milk from protected cows. And I'm very particular. I have to find out, is this cow really protected? How many bulls do you have in your goshala? If you don't have any bulls in your goshala, where are your bulls? That means you're not protecting cows because you're sending your bulls. You're putting them out on the street or you're sending them to slaughter.
That's right.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you've made a very, very important point. And I think this is why most of the people who turn towards veganism is when they actually visit a dairy farm and they are constantly insisting people out on the social media. They're making long videos, short videos, and they just have one appeal to make. And that is for the people to personally go and visit, even if it is one goshala, even if it is one dairy farm. And they tell us all it takes is just one personal visit for you to completely change your diet and your perspective. Audience, I'm sure you're taking note of all these things. This is not just a mere live show. We are here to take points. We are here to have our perspective exchanged, and we are here for a fresh new start. Mataji, today is the last day of 2025, and there's a saying in Hindi that says, Ant bhala to sab bhala. All is well that ends well. And we are very, very fortunate to end this year with you on such an important topic, actually. The next question is also a very, very important thing. If Prabhupada taught that no one escapes karma, how should devotees understand the karma of consuming commercial dairy today?
Well, a pure devotee escapes karma. This is the one person who escapes karma. Srila Prabhupada taught us this. By unconditional surrender to Krishna, we escape karma. And by his mercy, if we are not pure, in our next life, we can continue this process of Krishna consciousness and become pure devotees. Am I a pure devotee now? No, I'm not. So to understand the karma of consuming commercial dairy, we can go to the story of King Prachinabarhishat. And I'm thinking in particular of a verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 4:25-8, which is about the 6 people who are connected to the killing of an animal in the slaughterhouse. Keep in mind that King Prachinabarhishat was not a gross sense enjoyer. His act of killing animals was for offering in bona fide Vedic sacrifices. It was part of his duty as a king, as was the killing of murderers and enemies on the battlefield. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, this is the purport on the 6 people who are connected to the killing of an animal. Narada Muni warns the king that the animals killed in sacrifices by the king await him at his death in order to avenge themselves. Narada Muni is not contradicting himself here. Overindulgence in sacrifice is risky because as soon as there is a small discrepancy in the execution of such a sacrifice, the slaughtered animal may not be promoted to the human form of life. Consequently, the person performing the sacrifice will be responsible for the death of the animal. This is a warning for us as well. We're not focused on Vedic sacrifices, but if our offering is not as pure as that of Prahlad or Sanatan Goswami, who offered pieces of unsalted dough, we should not assume that just because we're offering our milk, there will be no reaction. So let's think about that for a minute. When I buy an Amul ice cream cone and say a few mantras, am I sure that this is not an overindulgence in sacrifice? Am I sure that there's no small discrepancy in this ice cream offering? Why am I offering this ice cream cone? Right. We have to ask ourselves that. Actually, I'm bringing up this point, but this is an issue which actually needs to be properly discussed.
Right. Mataji, thank you so much for giving us a list of questions. I think this is more than important for us to understand and for us to think about. Audience, I hope you're there with us. I hope you noted this down because this is very, very important. This one sentence in itself, am I a pure devotee? It answers everything. Mataji, my next question was in great connection to this one thing that you already explained to us. If you allow, I would like to ask that question to you, or maybe we can jump on to the another one.
No, go ahead, ask.
Okay. When food made from commercial dairy is offered to Lord Krishna, does the offering remove karmic reaction or only sanctify the consciousness of the offerer?
Well, the consciousness of the offerer is purified by making sure that all that we do, all that we offer and give away, is done as an offering for me, meaning for Krishna. You know that's from Bhagavad Gita. That's what purifies our consciousness. So, I mean, we have to be very careful here. You know, myself, I'll just use myself as an example. I know I'm not a pure devotee. I offer my prasadam. I offer what I eat to Krishna. I make a nice plate. When I'm in front of my little deities and I'm offering to my little Gornita, I'm offering to Srila Prabhupada, I'm very aware that I'm not of one of Lord Chaitanya's intimate associates offering with great love and devotion. I'm not one of the gopis. I'm not Mother Yasoda. I'm just a conditioned soul. And my spiritual master has told me to offer what I eat. So I offer, I'm begging Krishna to accept this offering. Certainly, Krishna, through Srila Prabhupada, Krishna is accepting and removing karmic reaction is intimately connected to sanctifying consciousness. Increasing karmic reaction does not sanctify consciousness. The two are very, very closely together. And we're not offering so we can feel good about our consciousness. We're offering because our spiritual master has told us to. Because this is what will purify us. This is what will annihilate our karmic reaction if we do this over and over and over again. But really, too many devotees are too much concerned about removing karmic reaction. This is not bhakti yoga. We offer to Krishna through our spiritual master because Krishna has told us to. Patram pushpam param toyam. If Krishna had told Arjuna not to offer our food, that's what we would be doing. That's what we should be doing. So, food made from the commercial dairy is offered to Krishna. Does the offering remove karmic reaction? That's a very, very difficult question for me to answer. If a consciousness is the essential ingredient there in that offering.
Right. Mataji, my
and
next question.
I just want to say one more thing here. And certainly, a devotee who is buying milk from the commercial dairy and is offering in the best consciousness possible, one cannot say that this is a grossly sinful activity. We cannot say that because the devotee is doing the best and offering to the best of their consciousness. We're none of us are perfect. We are offering to the best of what we can. But we also, along with that, we cannot stay at this level of our Krishna consciousness. We also have to keep increasing our Krishna consciousness, increasing our awareness of what pleases Krishna. What does the spiritual master want? And we have to go in that direction. If we know that Srila Prabhupada wants Varnashram Dharma, if we know that Srila Prabhupada wants us to take milk from protected cows, then we must take steps in that direction. Humbly take steps in that direction, even if we are not completely able to do that. So we have to be very careful on this point. I cannot judge a devotee. I know many amazing, wonderful devotees who buy milk from the dairy, from the dairy industry. I'm in no position to judge them and think that I'm better because I only take milk from protected cows. But I can preach and I can encourage other devotees to in that way take another step further. That's our duty. That's why we associate with devotees. So we encourage each other to become more and more Krishna conscious, to follow more and more instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given us, to follow these instructions more deeply. I think I've said too much on that point, but anyway.
No. Thank you so much, Mataji. You gave us not one but many perspectives on this, and I'm very, very glad that you did that. Now we have some time to sit and think about it after the show is over. Mataji, the next question is also somewhat connected to what you just said now. Mm, is intention enough in devotional service, or does violence embedded in the supply chain still matter to Krishna?
Well, Krishna says, only by undivided devotional service can I be known as I am. Intention is preliminary and essential. There are some devotees watching this show now or later who only have intention. That's good. We all start with intention. It's essential. But action is also essential. It's the necessary result, and it is essential. If we just have intention, then at one point there can be some doubt whether our intention is sincere. It has to translate into action. Let's remember again what I read before. This is the action Srila Prabhupada has prescribed for us in this regard. Such a nice animal. After taking milk from it, if we kill, does it look very well? So therefore, Krishna is teaching by his practical demonstration how he loves this innocent animal cow. So human society should develop Brahminical culture on the basis of protecting cows. That's a short answer this time.
Thank you so much, Mataji. The next question is, should devotees continue consuming paneer, milk, sweets, butter, and ghee from commercial dairies simply because they are traditional temple foods?
No. I'm going to be very direct about that. No. Actually, we have all these instructions from Srila Prabhupada, and many devotees don't know about this, but in 2019, the GBC passed Resolution 4062. This resolution is about offering the deities milk sweets, milk preparations, whatever, from protected cows. I'm not going to read the whole resolution, but I will read a few important points here. You know, most resolution, there is a series of reasons for passing this resolution before the resolution is read. So I'm going to read a few of these along with the resolution. Whereas Srila Prabhupada wrote in this regard, these greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-3 purport. Whereas ISKCON's sixth purpose is to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. Whereas Srila Prabhupada desired that urban ISKCON centers should be connected to rural ISKCON farm communities where devotees would produce food and milk to supply the urban centers. Whereas in ISKCON, many installed deities do not get milk from slaughter-free cows. Whereas continuing ISKCON's indirect support of the cow slaughter industry by consuming dairy from this industry, if based solely on financial reasons, calls into question the sincerity of ISKCON's commitment to cow protection. This is very serious. Are we practicing what we preach? We preach cow protection. We preach the sinfulness of killing cows, but we buy milk that supports the killing of cows. There's a problem there. We have to resolve that problem. Srila Prabhupada has told us how to resolve that problem. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's been 50 years. 50 years is not a long time, not really. But we haven't really taken up that instruction. It doesn't matter though. We can do it now. We can do it now. So the resolution was, listen to this. By Janmashtami of 2022, that's 3 years ago, all ISKCON centers should develop a plan where all milk and milk products, butter, ghee, yogurt, etc., offered to the deities are procured from protected cows. This was the resolution that was passed. And yet, most devotees don't even know about this resolution. And extremely few city temples have taken up this instruction. His Holiness Shiva Ram Swami has. I've been told that he told the devotees in the main city temple close to his community that they were no longer allowed to serve anything to the deities which is not any milk products not from protected cows. The devotee said, Maharaj, that's impossible. We can't do that. And Maharaj said, then don't offer any milk. Don't. And so the devotees, they thought about that. You know what happened? They did it. I don't know exactly how long it took them, but they finally did it. They did it. So we can all do it. Just takes a little determination. It takes someone saying, that's it, we have to do this. How are we going to do it? Let us sit down and try to figure out how we can do this. That's what the devotees had to do. And they did it. And I'm sure they were very blissful after they did it. So, next question.
Mataji, your direct answer has helped us a lot in this direction. And 100% the determination that you're asking for, the determination that you're pointing at is what we are really hoping to get in the coming years, in the coming time. And very rightly, you mentioned 50 years is not a very long time. And even though we had not been working in that direction so far, we can do it now. And I really hope audience you're with us in this discussion. Very soon we'll be taking your questions if we find some of the interesting ones. I just have a few more questions, Mataji. And the next one is really very important one. At what point does practicality become an excuse for avoiding difficult ethical decisions in devotional life?
Well, this is not just about milk. It's about being practical and avoiding difficult ethical decisions which we all do from the very beginning of our Krishna consciousness, even when we first become devotees, for many of us, coming especially from meat-eating backgrounds. So it becomes an excuse when we are forgetting that acting for Krishna's pleasure on the instructions of Srila Prabhupada is actually the most practical thing for a devotee to do. Srila Prabhupada very often spoke of the path of Krishna consciousness as being very practical. You've heard him say in his lectures, this is practical. Prabhupada will say that quite often. It is the way out of this material world to make these difficult ethical decisions. And it brings auspiciousness and happiness into our lives while we are in the material world. That's very practical. There have been so many apparently impractical propositions that Srila Prabhupada gave us. Many devotees think that this resolution 4062 is impractical. They laugh practically when they hear that. That will never happen. I heard one senior devotee say that. That will never happen. They laughed. But devotees have made so many impractical commitments for manifesting the instructions of His divine grace. The book distributors in airports and at rock concerts in the early days of the movement. I was one of them. It seemed impossible, but we did it. We did it. The Russian devotees in the early days of Krishna consciousness in their country, they were tortured. It seemed impossible that Krishna consciousness would ever become a reality. And yet now, Mayapur is flooded by Russian devotees. Russian devotees are amazing devotees. Practically every one of them that I've met are sincere, strong devotees. We have Giriraj Swami, who was charged by Srila Prabhupada to negotiate with Mr. Nair, the demon. Prabhupada was happy when he left his body. He was forced to negotiate for the Juhu temple. And we have the thousands of mothers in ISKCON who chant their rounds every day in the association of screaming babies and hungry families. They do it. It almost seems impossible, but they do it. So none of it is actually impossible or impractical. The results prove it. When we think of impractical versus ethical decisions, we forget that by protecting cows and offering milk from protected cows, our society and society in general will come to experience increasing auspiciousness and prosperity. This is not a fairy tale. The instructions Prabhupada has given on cow and bull protection are an open yet secret path to a sattvic and prosperous society, which ultimately will play an important role in ushering in the golden age of Lord Chaitanya. There is so much war. You turn on the news. There is so much war that everywhere. Even if people are not bombing each other, they're fighting with each other everywhere. So why is all this happening? Srila Prabhupada has told us, because of the indiscriminate slaughter of innocent animals, especially cows. There is war, pestilence, and I forget all of them now. But all of these great calamities are coming because of that. This is not just something that Prabhupada says. This is the truth. If we can dedicate our society to protecting cows, can you imagine what will happen for the whole world? Prabhupada small amount of people would just do this, it's practical and ethical simultaneously.
Right. Thank you so much, Mataji. This was indeed something that we really needed to hear. And I'm so happy that this is happening on the last day of 2025. So we'll enter into the new year with a new, fresh start, with a fresh set of thoughts and a fresh set of possibilities also. The next question is also a very good one. What would a minimum honest standard of dairy consumption look like for a sincere devotee household today?
Well, many devotees have milk products practically at every meal. And we have to ask ourselves, do we need that much milk products? In New Vrindavan, when I was this, I forget the exact year, but it was shortly, just a few years after I got there. We had our own cows. We had brown Swiss who give huge amounts of beautiful, fresh, whole milk with cream. And New Vrindavan was austere in many ways, but the milk, the butter, the ghee was very opulent. Then we had a hepatitis epidemic. Someone came from India, a visitor, and brought hepatitis. And Srila Prabhupada found out about this. And the devotees were dropping like flies. Everyone was looking at each other to see if their eyes were turning yellow, because that was usually the first sign. And Srila Prabhupada told Kirtananda, he said, this is happening because you're eating too opulently. You don't have to have so much milk, so much. That's when the rice and oat water, famous in all of ISKCON, that's when we began to eat rice and oat water for breakfast instead of a nice big bowl of oatmeal with whole milk on the oatmeal. So we need milk products, which builds finer brain tissues, but do we need to eat huge quantities? That we should question. So what is a minimum honest standard of dairy consumption? Children should be priority. If there's a lack of milk, if there's a shortage of milk, children should get that milk first, because milk builds finer brain tissue, and we want our children to drink that milk. Old people. Prabhupada said this is very important for old people.
And
in a more
old age is
natural
also second childhood.
Pardon?
I've said that old age is also second childhood.
Yes. And actually, well, there are many physical reasons for old people to be having milk. So these people in the household should be priority. And we have to consider also, what is a natural level of dairy consumption? If we were living in a natural environment, natural Vedic environment, where we get milk only from our cow. We don't go to the store. We don't go to the grocery store. You don't see this as much in India, but in America, you go into a grocery store in Canada, there's a huge aisles filled with dairy, huge quantities of dairy, even in small towns. So, but in a more natural environment, there would only be milk when the family cow is giving milk. If you had two family cows, you had a better chance of having milk every day. But you only had milk when your cows were giving milk. Or if your good neighbor if their cow was giving milk, they would give you, oh, you don't have any milk right now. Here, please take some. Like that. So huge quantities of milk were not necessarily always available. This is natural consumption of milk.
Right.
When she is dry or pregnant, no milk. In dairies, they don't wait for the cow to stop giving milk, which this is a natural way of doing it, and waiting a year or so for the cow to recover, and then she becomes pregnant and then gives milk again. That cow is made pregnant while she is still giving milk. And as a result, in most dairies, after 5 years, cows are exhausted. They can no longer give milk. Imagine being pregnant 5 years in a row, having 5 children, and giving milk for 5 straight years. And at the end of that, the body can't do it anymore. So then that cow goes to slaughter. So, an minimum honest standard for sincere and serious devotees, we should only take as much as is necessary to maintain health. I can't make hard and fast rules. It should be based on realization and the necessary needs of the body.
Right. Thank you so much, Mataji. My next question is reducing or abstaining from commercial dairy a deviation from Prabhupada's teachings or a deeper alignment with them?
I believe it is a deeper alignment. One of the things that really got me thinking about. No, I'm not going to go in that direction. I believe it is a deeper alignment. It took me time to do this. And now I consider this decision to be one of the most important in my devotional life. It didn't happen overnight. I actually started. I started by I was working with Dharmakunda Prabhu when he was in charge of Mayapur Goshala, and I was beginning to notice all of the skinny, emaciated cows in the area, and the fact that the calves were separated from their mothers. I felt very uncomfortable about that. And one day my husband came home and he said, I have milk from one of the local people who has cows. This is very, very good milk. And I thought of this cow and the calf separated from the cow. And I thought, oh, I don't know. This is very strange. And I realized that all the milk I was drinking was probably coming from a very similar source, especially the store-bought milk.
Right.
So I, the first thing I did is, first of all, I thought, well, Dharmakunda is doing this, but I think he's a little fanatical, him and his wife. And then I thought about that some more, and I thought, well, maybe there's a point there. And I was thinking of all the reasons that I should not be drinking this dairy milk. And I decided that I will only drink dairy milk twice a month on Ekadasi, because I don't know what else to eat on Ekadasi. I have to have some milk. And then I came to the conclusion, this is ridiculous. I'm taking milk I'm taking milk from abused cows only on Ekadasi. That doesn't make any sense. And then one day I had no more reasons. And then I made the decision. But don't just take my word for it. Many strong devotees have done this and spoken of their experience. Here's just a few words from them. We cannot condemn anyone for killing cows and simultaneously support their business financially. I don't consume any dairy unless its source is compatible with what we have in Krishna Valley. Blood milk, milk from the commercial industry, is not for me. But I travel a lot, and Ahimsa, or cruelty-free milk, is not widely available. So therefore, I am mostly dieting as a vegan. He is not a vegan, he is dieting as a vegan. This is Shivaram Swami. Krishna Kshetra Swami, he actually wrote this specifically for Bhakti Milk. In 2013, I decided to restrict my diet to include dairy products only from protected cows. Since then, I feel considerably better physically, mentally, ethically, and spiritually. For me, this is my small beginning of efforts to help realize the impossible task Srila Prabhupada gave us, to take up cow protection in earnest and show a tangible and feasible example for the world. It becomes increasingly clear to me that this is necessary if our Krishna consciousness mission is to have a significant impact in the world. His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Swami. Srila Prabhupada's barometer of any civilization, how spiritual that civilization is how they treat their cows. I actually read that in the Bhagavatam. I actually read this. To the degree cows are happy and protected, to that extent, Dharma is in that community. To the degree cows are mistreated, exploited, that is a place of irreligion. His Holiness Radhana Swami. I hope that answers a little bit.
Sure, Mataji. These quotes that you're sharing, they're just adding more weightage and more credibility to your answers, and they're just giving us a lot of hope. And somewhere or the other, it is also making us realize the gravity of this situation, how important is it, and how quick we have to be in working in this direction. Mataji, my next question to you is somewhat related to your experience. Tell us from real experience, is cow protection financially sustainable, or does it require devotees to accept inconveniences and sacrifices?
From my experience, can you repeat that again? Okay.
Sure.
No, it's okay. It's here. I did write a few answers down, and I'm going along with them. No, I can't find it. Anyway, just repeat the question again, please.
Mataji, from your real experience, is cow protection financially sustainable, or does it require devotees to accept inconvenience and sacrifice?
It will involve sacrifice. It must involve sacrifice because the way ISKCON is now, without a farm community for every city temple, there is no way that we can instantly have even a sufficient amount of milk for everyone to have all the milk that they want, that they used to have, and begin this process. It will take time, but it doesn't mean. But that's what Krishna consciousness is about. It's about making this sacrifice. So we should begin to do it. We won't be the losers.
Right. Thank you so much, Mataji. The last question is, if Srila Prabhupada were present today and shown the modern dairy industry in detail, what do you think he would clearly demand of his disciples?
Well, um, I don't know if I should answer this question. I'm not Srila Prabhupada, and I'm not a very advanced devotee. What I do know is this. Many hundreds of times, Srila Prabhupada has spoken and written in his books, which he told us are the law books for the next 10,000 years. He has written of the importance of milk, and he has connected he has connected this almost every time with the way we acquire milk and how it should be through the protection of cows and bulls and farm community. There is one quote, I meant to look for it and then I forgot, but it's an amazing quote. I can remember it, although I am paraphrasing it. Prabhupada said, green, 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 make everything green. That I want. He said, and the cows and the bulls, they can eat sumptuously in the fields, and the devotees may eat sumptuously. Prabhupada said, never mind big, big buildings. Just make everything green. He said, and even if the cows don't give milk, they will pass dung and urine, and that will be even more valuable than milk. Prabhupada actually said this. So these are, so I do believe that Prabhupada would what was your question again?
If
I
Prabhupada were...
do believe he would demand this of his disciples because he was asking us to do it 50 years ago. I guess I do believe he would demand. I think if Prabhupada walked into the temple room, he would say, where are the cows? Where are the bulls? He actually said this to my husband many years ago in New Vrindavan. My husband was driving a team of horses. Prabhupada was visiting New Vrindavan, and he was leaving in a car. He was leaving New Vrindavan to go somewhere else. And my husband was on the road with his team of horses, and he saw Prabhupada's car go by, and he thought, Srila Prabhupada is going to see that we're not using tractors, we're using horses. Prabhupada's going to be pleased. So he became a little puffed up, And then the car stopped. Prabhupada put his finger out the window, and he went like this. He motioned to my husband to come forward. And my husband got off the cart, he ran forward, and Prabhupada said to him, where are the bulls? My husband said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, or I forget what he said. Anyway, Prabhupada said, because you are using horses, the bulls are not engaged. If the bulls are not engaged, everyone will think they are useless. After that, my husband was training bulls.
And he has been training bulls right since then.
Well, I'll be honest with you, we did leave Krishna Consciousness for a number of years, which we both very much regret, but we came back. And my husband immediately began training bulls. That was his first engagement, coming back. And he's been doing this now for many, many years again. Even as an old man, I have pictures of him training bulls. He's walking with his cane in one hand and holding on to a bull's, their neck rope, training that bull. So, no one has yet shown me one quote where Srila Prabhupada insisted that dairy is so essential that no matter the source, it must be obtained for offering. It was okay in the beginning. Offering a ghee lamp and Artik actually used to mean offering a candle. Do we do this now? Instructions are changing.
Right.
And before leaving this world, Srila Prabhupada gave us the 50% of his mission he didn't complete. It is recounted in the Lilamrita, Volume 6. Prabhupada was speaking to a devotee called Tejiya Das. And it was reported in the ISKCON Forum newsletter in 1983. Prabhupada said, I want to live a little longer to make everything more perfect. Tamal Krishna said, will you do this by enthusing the devotees, by staying with them? Or is there a specific program? A specific program, said Srila Prabhupada. I want to introduce Varnashram. We should establish this Varnashram in America. The Varnashram is centered around the cow. Live in the lap of material nature and depend on Krishna. This is simply a repetition of what Srila Prabhupada said in 1968. We should develop Brahminical culture on the basis of protecting cows. So this is the last question. I just want to end by saying that we should stop thinking of how much milk we can get from cows. We should stop thinking of how we can get as much milk as we can without incurring too much bad karma. We should all begin to meditate on how we can serve bulls and cows, how we can protect Krishna's bulls and cows. To become enthusiastic to do this, we can meditate on Srila Prabhupada's words in Srimad Bhagavatam Purport 10.8.16. Srila Prabhupada wrote, his, meaning Krishna of course, his first business is to give all protection to the cows and the brahmanas. In fact, comforts for the brahmanas are secondary, and comfort of the cows is his first concern. Thank you very much.
Mataji, it was an absolute honor to be able to talk to you on such an important topic, a topic that you've been following so passionately. You've been working in this direction, and we have finally started working and walking in this direction. And so far, we have been able to convince quite a few people. We've been having guests from all over the world, these cow care experts, and from within our audience base, Mataji, we have two questions for you. If you allow, I would like to present them on the screen.
Okay, go ahead. I hope I can answer them.
So the first question is from Anant Bharat. Hare Krishna to all, Charan Sparsh, Dandavat Pranam to great Srila Prabhupada disciple. Where and how can we get Mataji's both books, Bhakti Milk and Gosevak?
Actually, Bhakti Milk is the name of one book, and the next book is called Cowtails. It's a book for children. It's a book for children that describes how Krishna and devotees, how Krishna and devotees are serving cows, with example taken from Krishna book, Mahabharata, and the Vedas. And you can get these books. By contacting my email, which should be put on the screen. Also, Varnashram Book Trust, Bhakti Raghava Swami has been printing these books. You can contact Varnashram Book Trust. I should have information here on how to contact Varnashram Book Trust. I don't. I'm sorry about that. But if you write to me, to my email, I will put you in touch with Varnashram Book Trust.
Mataji, could you read out your email ID to me? I can put it down in the comment section for the audience.
You want me to write it
No,
in
you
the
can just
chat?
tell it to me. I'm noting it down.
Okay, it's gosevak
Hmm.
138
Hmm.
at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji.
You're
So
welcome.
the next question that we have for you is again from one of our audience. His name is Manav. Hare Krishna Mataji, I stopped drinking milk because I do not get Ahimsa milk. But my family thinks that I'm doing drama and that ISKCON is brainwashing me. How can I explain this to them?
Well, I wish ISKCON was actually brainwashing you in this regard. ISKCON is a little, not, I mean, ISKCON is like huge. There's thousands and thousands of devotees. And there are devotees within ISKCON who understand, who believe that this is very important. And there are many devotees who do not. We have to be very respectful of each other, who believe that offering any milk, even from the dairy industry, is important and is correct thing to do. So right now we are a little divided within ISKCON on this issue. Um,
That's right.
how can I explain this to them? I think the best thing you could do is to write to me, to my email, and I will send you a copy of Goseva, of Bhakti Milk. And you can read that book and use what is written in that book to convince them. If your family is not devotees, you may have a harder time because this book is geared toward devotees.
Right. Right. Manav, I hope you will write your email to Mataji. We have mentioned her email ID. Mataji, with this, we'd like to conclude our session here. Again, I'm joining hands and really thanking you because even after being so busy, you've been very kind on us. You've guided us through a very, very difficult topic. You have shared with us some of the most important quotes spoken by Srila Prabhupada on this important topic. And you have somehow or the other cleared many, many doubts that were in our mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for hearing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
So some of you have been posting in the comment that how did we have an English live session today? Well, it all depends upon the guest. You can always watch this session and you can help, you can ask somebody for some help. Your person, your friend, maybe somebody can translate the session for you. All in all, we're discussing about Mother Cow. And since Mataji is a Srila Prabhupada disciple, she clearly represented what Prabhupada has been speaking about this, and she has shared some of the most important things with us. I really hope this session brought a positive change in your life, in your perception, and the way you approach milk and Krishna consciousness. Please feel free to share your honest opinions with us in the comment section. We are here for you, we are working for you, and together we are one family. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.